Jason and Lynn, along with their teenage daughters, Amy and Millie, enter an escape room, called the Killer's Lair. While Jason is an avid escape room enthusiast, the rest of the family is only there for his sake. The host explains the rules: they have 60 minutes to solve the puzzles and escape. He then sets the scene. The family was on their way to a local store when they stopped at a secluded cabin to ask for directions. The man offered them iced tea before trapping them in the basement, chaining Jason's leg as part of the game. The host explains that they have only 3 clues to use and, before leaving, warns them to hide if they see the main door opening. As the game begins, Jason urges everyone to search for clues, but his daughter Millie snaps at him, telling him to drop his army act, especially since he was invalidated out. Millie calls everyone over, claiming she found something, only to startle Amy by brandishing a knife. Frustrated about being stuck in the escape room, she lashes out. Jason tries to calm her, insisting they're doing this for some quality family time. Millie sarcastically remarks that it's telling how Jason has to lock everyone in a basement just to spend time together. Meanwhile, Lynn discovers a filing cabinet secured with a padlock, bearing 4 names: Jeannie, Bella Rose, Sammy, and Georgina. Amy discovers a scrapbook while Lynn finds a photo of Sammy. As Amy flips through the pages, she comes across a newspaper article about Jeannie Gray, who was found with one ear missing. Meanwhile, Millie pointedly asks Lynn whether Jason knows what's going to happen later, but Lynn refuses to discuss it in front of him. Moments later, Millie uncovers a missing person poster for Bella. As tensions rise, Lynn turns to Jason, reassuring him that she never wanted to be with someone else. Lynn tells Jason that the past few years have been difficult. Meanwhile, Millie picks up the radio and requests a clue from the host. Using the hint, they manage to unlock the padlock, causing the entire cabinet to shift and reveal a hidden passage. Lynn and the girls step through, leaving Jason behind. Before they go, Jason urges Millie to stay and help him find the key. She reluctantly agrees. Jason asks Millie about her conversation with Lynn, but she responds cryptically, saying she's been telling him everything, he just never listens. Sensing her frustration, Jason reassures her that he loves her and is proud of her. They share a hug before being interrupted by Lynn's voice over the speakers. She tells Jason that they've found the key, but they'll need Millie's help to retrieve it since it requires 3 people. After Millie leaves, Jason tries to talk to Lynn, but there's no response. Determined to keep going, he searches for more clues and comes across a Morse code chart. Nearby, he discovers a locked box with a 4-digit combination and a photograph of rugby players. Using the clues, he successfully cracks the code and opens the box, revealing a magnetic hook. He attaches it to a long tube behind him, pulling out a hidden item, a blue light torch. Jason switches off the lights and sweeps the room with the blue light torch. Glowing handprints appear on the walls, leading him to a framed picture. When he removes it, he uncovers the chilling words "No escape" scrawled on the wall. Suddenly, the main door creaks open, and a man dressed as the killer, Dr. Death, steps inside. Jason quickly hides under a blanket as Dr. Death scans the room before reaching for an axe mounted on the wall. Suddenly, the lights flicker back on, and the host steps into the room, announcing that there's been a technical glitch. He quickly reboots the system, causing a screen to light up, displaying live footage of Lynn and the girls in the other room. The host explains that this feed should have activated as soon as they left. He reassures Jason that he should now be able to communicate with them through the intercom. After the host leaves, Jason notices a button that flashes a light in the other room, allowing him to communicate with Lynn and the girls. Lynn tells him they need a 4-letter word to unlock a jar containing the key. Jason radios the host for another clue and, using the flashing light, transmits the word in Morse code. Lynn and the girls decipher it, unlock the jar, and retrieve the key, just as the killer suddenly enters the room. The screen goes dark as Lynn and the girls scream, leaving Jason in a panic. He frantically yells for help, grabbing the radio and desperately calling out. Suddenly, the scene shifts. Amy, Millie, and Lynn are sitting beside a comatose Jason in a hospital room. A nurse, who looks exactly like the escape room host, enters and checks Jason's eyes. Back in the escape room, Amy appears and reunites with Jason. Moments later, Millie arrives. She looks him in the eye and tells him, "This isn't a game, Dad. It's real." Lynn arrives and tells Jason she has to take the girls away from the killer. She hands him the key and leaves. Moments later, the killer enters the room. Jason quickly uses the key to unlock his chains. Back at the hospital, the doctor arrives and informs the family that they have decided to remove Jason from life support. He explains the procedure, assuring them that it will be peaceful. Meanwhile, in the escape room, the killer lunges at Jason with the axe. Jason quickly grabs the torch and shines it into the killer's eyes, momentarily blinding him. At the hospital, the nurse begins removing Jason's life support tubes. Back in the escape room, the killer recovers and seizes Jason. Struggling, Jason yanks off the killer's mask, revealing him to be the doctor. Managing to break free, Jason rushes to the main door, pounding on it and shouting for someone to let him out. Desperate, he grabs the radio and pleads with the host, insisting that he can't escape. The host tells Jason he needs to enter a single-digit passcode. Desperate, Jason asks for his final clue. The host reveals the number, 9. Back at the hospital, as the nurse continues the procedure, Lynn suddenly stops them, insisting she felt like Jason said something. The episode ends with Jason opening his eyes in the hospital, just as he escapes from the room in the game. Like and subscribe the channel for more videos like these.